All right, it's game number 12 for the Boston Celtics, where they look to stretch their winning streak to 10 straight games against Lonzo Ball and the Los Angeles Lakers. Welcome to another edition of the Celtics Pregame Report. I'm your host, Josue Pavone, alongside Trevor Lane, host of the Lakers Nation podcast, also senior writer for LakersNation.com. Trevor, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, man.
So, Trevor, the Lakers entered tonight's game 5-5, but have picked up some momentum, having won 3 of their last 4 games against teams like the Portland Trail Blazers, Washington Wizards, and most recently the Memphis Grizzlies. What has impressed you the most about this team so far?
Well, they actually lost to the Portland Trail Blazers on a very, very tough last-second shot by Damian Lillard. So that was a heartbreaker. But they did pick up some good wins here, and I've been really impressed by the level of defense this team's been playing. I mean, they've been pretty much right in the lower half of the top 10 in defensive efficiency all season, which is absolutely insane for a team that finished dead last in defensive rating last year. So that's been impressive, seeing how much they've improved on that end of the floor and just how they're competing. I mean, they're going out there in every single game, even the games where they're losing, they're staying pretty close. I mean, they were right there with Portland, and that was in Portland. They were taking it to the Toronto Raptors until they kind of fell to pieces right at the very end. So they're doing pretty well for a team that is full of a lot of young players who don't have a ton of NBA experience, and a team that has 4 starters that are brand new to the team because they're either a rookie or they were brought in via trade or free agency. So the only remaining starter from last season is Brandon Ingram. The rest of them are all brand new and are all learning how to play together. So when you put that all together, you can't really be too upset with a 5-5 start with this team.
Let's talk a little bit about Lonzo Ball, of course. I mean, let's talk about how, of course, heading into the regular season, him and his abrasive father, LaVar, I mean, they were sort of the focus, heading into this regular season. I mean, what's the general consensus on the father and son? How does Lakers Nation feel about the future of these two? Is this a distraction? Is this pure entertainment? What's the feedback been like so far?
You know what? I mean, heading into the draft, or coming out of the draft, I actually asked LeVar Ball about that, if he was going to be a distraction, or that how he would respond to these claims that he was going to be a distraction and everything. And he said, no, he's not going to be a distraction at all. As long as, the guys are on the floor taking care of business, there's no distraction at all. And so far, he's for the most part stayed true to his word. I mean, he's still made some comments here and there and said a few things, but for the most part, he has toned things down considerably compared to where he was in terms of rhetoric and everything before the draft. And we haven't heard a heck of a lot from him. I mean, he still pops up every now and then because he's building a brand and all of that, but it really hasn't been a big issue. And, Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka went before the draft and visited the Ball family at their home, watched them go through a workout, sat down, chatted with LaVar, and the sense they got was that LaVar understands that he's playing a role, and he's sort of just turning the volume up on his own personality when the media is around in order to attract attention. And it's working. I mean, it's working. The fact that we're talking about it shows that his plan has worked. And, I mean, so far it hasn't been an issue for the Lakers. So as long as that continues, then all good. I mean, hey, at least he's involved. There's a lot of players out there, a lot of people out there in general that have parents that aren't nearly as involved as LeVar Ball is, so you can't fault him on that end.
This edition of the Celtics Pregame Report is being brought to you by the good fellas over at Greats.com, the makers of great, classic, stylish, and comfortable sneakers, sold at a great price. Head over to Greats.com and enter the promo code Celtics Roundtable to save 15% off of your first purchase. That's Greats.com, save 15%, enter the promo code Celtics Roundtable. Trevor, I mean, we've been hearing it ever since we knew that LeBron James, of course, is only going to come back for 1 year with Cleveland. Of course, there's the talk about him possibly getting together with Paul George in L.A. If you could somehow put a percentage on it, what do you think of the chances are that, A, LeBron James actually leaves Cleveland, and B, that he actually heads to L.A.?
Leaves Cleveland, I'd put it at 50%, maybe 60%, given how poorly the Cavs have been playing. If this continues, it's going to be tough for him to stay. If it continues to look like it's just him and he pretty much has to drag the team to the playoffs and to the finals, then I could very easily see him leaving. Obviously, Isaiah Thomas coming back could change that quite a bit, as Celtics fans are very aware of. As far as him actually coming to LA, should he decide to leave, I mean, I'm a little more pessimistic on that than most. I'm going to say like maybe 20-30%, something like that. I just think if he's leaving Cleveland, he's going to go to a ready-made situation that is all set up to win. And if anything, that means hiding in the Eastern Conference for another year or two. I mean, the East has given him an easy path, or an easier path, I should say, to the finals just about every single year. So there's not really much incentive to leave that. I could see him switching over to another Eastern Conference team. If he does go west, maybe he tries to find a way to go and team up with his buddy Chris Paul with the Houston Rockets or something like that. But coming to the Lakers, the only way I see him doing that is if the Lakers' big plan pays off, is if the Lakers are able to free up enough cap space to sign 2 max players, and then both LeBron and Paul George come in, and the Lakers have some ideas in place to get some other pieces around them as well. I think that's the only realistic scenario that would bring LeBron to LA, is if he wasn't going to be coming in as just the guy, but he would have other pieces around him as well, including at least one other star player. So that's why I'm a little bit more pessimistic on it. I think there's just a lot of different moving pieces that all have to land just right in order for LeBron to land in Los Angeles.
All right, Trevor, I ask every single person that comes on this program, prediction time. Who wins tonight between the Lakers and Celtics?
Prediction time. Well, I mean, hey, if the Celtics don't win this one, then we're going to have a heck of a lot to talk about, because this Lakers team is young. They're not really built to win right now. They're playing hard. They're fast breaking, but they can't shoot threes right now. They're one of the worst teams in the league as far as 3-point percentage. They're attacking the basket like crazy in order to make up for it. But I mean, it's only going to be so long before the smarter teams in the league figure it out and know what to do against them and everything. And I suspect that Boston's going to be pretty successful here. Dealing with Kyrie is obviously not going to be an easy task, and then of course you've got these 2 long, rangy wings in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. By the way, I think the Celtics are going to walk away with a win here. I think they're going to win by probably at least 10, and that's my official prediction. But I'm really intrigued to see the whole, Lonzo Ball versus Jason Tatum, and then you've got Brandon Ingram versus Jaylen Brown. You've got the 2-3 picks for the last couple of drafts going head-to-head, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on that too. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, the Celtics walk away with the victory. But there's still going to be so much to watch in this game. A lot of fun things going on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Last year we talked about, the Jaylen Brown matchup against Ingram. Now we got these 2 guys going at it tonight between Ball and Jason Tatum. Should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a blast. I mean, it always is whenever it's Lakers versus Celtics. Even when one team's up, the other team's down, there's still that history there. There's still that rivalry. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Very
true. Very true. All right. He is Trevor Lane of Lakers Nation Podcast and LakersNation.com. You can check him out on Twitter at Trevor_Lane. Trevor, appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Celtics Pregame Report. Special thanks to Trevor for checking in, and of course to all the listeners for tuning in to yet another edition of the Celtics Pregame Report. Make sure after the game you check out the Garter Report on CLNS Media's YouTube channel for all the raw and uncut videos from the locker room and press table after the game. Weekday shows air on the Celtics Newsfeed channel, on iTunes, Stitcher, and the CLNS Media mobile app. For today's Boston Celtics Pregame Report with Josue Pavone, this is Josue Pavone signing off.